Hi, Granny's Annie with today's fairy tale of the Litle Debbie Donut Bank Robber. After I'd gotten in trouble 3 different times, convicted on felonies, I spent a lot of time in jail, being revoked on bench warrants, and that means you get no bond. You're just going to go in and wait till you, courts are backed up, wait till you you can't bail out on a bench warrant. The judge on her bench signs it, so you can't. Blue warrant's different. But anyway, after I got done with that, and I finally got done being on the paper, that was the hardest part with getting off the paper. I mean, it was a zoo on that the second time. They really did try to discriminate. I had a 2-year state jail felony, 2 days past end of sentence. Judge Julie Kasurik, extended it 6 months. And I had done nothing wrong. My PO really didn't like me though, and I got sent to jail for. I was in jail for 6 months. Then went to this court-ordered treatment for dual diagnosis, and so that's why I'm an American POW. I've been to concentration camps. I've been to re-education camps. I've taken re-education classes in the free world. Personally, I used to be a social worker, and I worked with this very population of felons with substance abuse problem, the disabled, the blind. I was an employment specialist. I was very good at that. After I had done that stuff and everything, I also finally got off of heroin because I wanted to prove I could stay off of it before you try any kind of life, and I figure that's a year minimum. They say treatment center wise, and like I said, I worked in that field as a counselor. 2 years in-house treatment is best for heroin, and that's just the truth. So anyway, I kind of put myself into it, my own in-house treatment, and my girlfriend up in Dallas, Arlington, Dallas, who had about 17 years sober, let me come up there and rent a room from her for 18 months, and I stayed clean, sobered up, kicked cold turkey, and in a bad mood. But they let me keep going to their meetings, even though I cussed like you wouldn't believe, and I carried knives, 2 knives showing. I mean, I was with my back against the back of the door. If the law came in, I'm going out, even though nothing was on me. I mean, it was just, it'll PTSD you that bad. Well, anyway, I do receive a check. I went crazy officially when I was 50, and so I received a check, and it's very hard to make it. It's like 20% below the poverty level. So there's a lot of people that do illegal things on the side to try to just make it, right? Because I mean, literally, like, okay, true, I have a habit of tobacco. Yeah, you're right. If I put that down, that would put $250 more in my pocket a month, and that still puts me below the poverty level. So, and I would like to put them down. Beside the point. An American POW. I had decided that stuff messes you up in the head. It really does. There's a lot of humiliation and bullying by staff and by the other inmates. You have to be very hard. You turn to a hard person just instantly. You look hard instantly at them before they look hard. I mean, you just and you got to be ready just to jump, or they got to expect it to think. They got to be wondering themselves, because you know what type they are. They'll jump, right? God. Anyways, so I was broke, and I was trying to figure out how to make some money. And I had decided that I wasn't going to do any more petty crimes, because that's what got me put into the judicial system, was some nonviolent drug charges, and then a felony theft, which had to do property, not individual, which had to do again with just the substance abuse. So basically all had to do with just addiction, which is a disease, but apparently we punish and incarcerate for it. Because of the neurological damage, sometimes I mumble, and if so, please, I apologize. I lose train of thought. I decided if I was going to do anything again against the law, right? That was going to be big, big talks. It'd be something big. But I was going to plan it, it wouldn't just be something stupid. And so I thought, well, how would you do the research and cover the sites you're going to look up and stuff? And at that time, security was, well, there just weren't very many search engines to go to. There weren't many sites to search. And so you're on the radar instantly. So I borrowed this dude's hard drive, and I did the research, and I kept an outline and, like a rough draft, really rough outline of a bank robbery, the Litle Debbie donut bank robbery, so that if there was ever any question that, well, for one thing, it wasn't my computer. And so I did some research, because I thought, if I'm going to do a bank robbery, if I'm going to do something big, I would want to do it one time. And like 10 years before, something like that, I'd been talking to a friend of mine who's a cop, and I was just so done with the daily grind, because heroin's a cash daily habit. And I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, I think I might rob a bank. I said, and he goes, no, don't do that. And I said, why, will I get caught? And he goes, no. He said, that's not what happens. He goes, most bank robbers don't get caught. He said, but you're going to do it again. You won't do it one time. He said, the rush of it. So I've always kept that in my mind, that I would go back again and do it for the adrenaline, the risk. And as far as just statistically, alcoholics and addicts are risk takers and adrenaline junkies and stuff like that. We score on that, but so do pioneer settlers. So 6 one, half dozen of the other. And you got, what's his name coming down out of Colorado? Winter. I forget his name. I guess in a way you could put it him and all his friends, although they had left this life and gone to a different form. Anyway, so I did some research. I thought, if I do it, I'll do in this one lick meaning one day. I figured I could get 20 grand out of each dollar sign. Bleep. I found out about that type of guy that I they call me Granny Rapper. Isn't this shit on the web? Google's the one that showed me how to hotwire a car. YouTube. Girls in jail told me that. They said, I was saying, but I didn't know it's going to have, because I figured it was one man. My novel, anything can happen in my novel, and no bank robbery ever happened. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to see if we can edit this movie, and we're going to start with, for one thing, I had gotten information on how you defeat the dye packet. I had gotten information on how you defeat the RFID chip. It's all fascinating information that YouTube will never put out. And it's so wonderful and ironical, because it's not a But the note says, it's a bomb, don't put any dye packs in there, fill it up. Don't trigger any alarms. If the dye pack goes off, and I know when it will go off, and I do, and if the dye packs go off, I will trigger this bomb. Never speaking, right? Now, two things. She's not going to put a dye pack in there, and there's going to be a bomb scare, so there's going to have to be an evacuation. What happens during a bomb scare evacuation? Everybody evacuates. When the polices get up there to have their little machine, it's really just going to have a little, 6-pack of frosted Litle Debbie donuts. And they're cops. They're going to love it. Come on. What I've done by this time is gone to a different vehicle than the one I drove into that city in. And it also has a change of clothes. I leave this change of clothes on the highway down the road. The money is protected as far as from tracking. And I'm on my way in a nondescript car looking different. So I go to the next one. Just everything's repeated, right? But it doesn't even start to be where they start talking to each other until probably like third time it happens and goes across a blinker, and then DPS is going to start watching. And you don't want DPS watching for you. You don't. You'd really want to work those last ones very finely. Very finely. Very finely. And also, nowadays with all that cartel shit that's over into, what's their city, Juarez, El Paso, and I heard Del Rio's still open, but I don't know, and I sure wouldn't want to step on the cartel toes. And I'm not having them know my business. That other people have business. Who I was going to get to do the boost them cars with me, because I figured I'd just do the job alone. Because I have a deep voice and I can make it super deep. If I did have to talk in, I mean, you can do stuff, right? A pure large, I'd scare the grizzly, right? Whatever. So I did talk to this one dude I trust that's at TS. And he was like, hey, I got to... And I was like, I know, I don't want to share. And I don't like snitching. Less people knows, less people anybody knows. And I said, so here's my deal. I got this plan. Here's the plan. And I said, I'm pretty sure it'll fucking work. Oops. Did it again. I'm going to have to edit. So I said, here's the plan. And I'm pretty sure it'll work. I explained it to him. And I said, I can do everything but hot wire cars. And he goes, I don't know how to hot wire cars. I said, you. And so it was like, cool. And he goes, do you want any of my crew? And I said, no. I said, that's less people, less snitching, less sharing, all that. Nobody gets hurt. And I told him, I said, we're not going to have any weapons. I said, because if, say off-duty cops on, off-duty cop is, in line at the bank, or, people carry, got open carry in Texas. If something happens and something goes down, an innocent person, it's not fair for them to get hurt, Nothing should be expected for anybody to get hurt. But if somebody was to get excited, that's how I let it, Karma always finds me, and it's usually instant karma. So, if something was to go down, I'm sure I'd be the recipient. But most of them aren't violent. Most of them even aren't any. So check this out. Alright, so when I was doing those 24 days in Wilco, I ended up getting, I just don't want to say too much on this. Not because I'm scared of the law, because I'm a reasonable human person. And let's just say I think she was a female member of a very powerful white prison gang. And she took a liking to me. And not in a funny way, I reminded her of her mother. And it turned out that she really is a bank robber that's never been caught for that. She had done time for like enhanced theft, like felony theft, state jail felony theft. But I was sitting there, usually in jail, You start telling that story, and girls will start going, don't tell me, because they're thinking that either you really did it, or you're going to do it, or if you do it, and you get caught up, you're going to think, oh my, it was that girl in jail. It was Charmin. I hope Charmin sees this. Never forget that her mother named her after toilet paper. I don't have fond memories of her. Well, let's see how good I photo edit. Don't you think that's great, though? The Litle Debbie Donut bank robber? Come on. It's awesome, Sam. Thank you.